The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. Ely City Council meeting, May 27, 2021.
Call this meeting to order. Feel free to join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for our town of Ely. That's why we live here, because we enjoy it so much and we enjoy your blessings, especially as we have dealt with the COVID pandemic. You have noticeably blessed this town and the county. I pray, Lord, for the esteemed mayor and the council members and all that are here. Help them to have the wisdom to know what is just and right. We know, Lord, that there will probably be difference of opinions on some topics here tonight, but I pray that you give them the wisdom to work through those differences. Give them confidence in what they're doing and joy in their work. I pray this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. The roll call.
Mayor Robertson,
Present.
Councilman Plengus,
Here.
Councilman Carson,
Here.
Councilman Spear,
Here.
Councilman Allworth,
Here.
Councilwoman Beecher,
Here.
City Clerk Lee,
Here.
City Treasurer HR Director Trask, City Attorney Manueli,
Here.
Public Works Supervisor Craycraft, City Building Official Walker,
Here.
City Engineer Almberg, City Police Chief Henry,
Here.
and that's all.
I just been an actual test. We just sent you home the basement with the beer.
Is that everybody?
Yes, that's everyone.
Thank you. With that, we move on to item 2, public comment. Please state your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Louis Tristan. I'm here under protest of the continuous government harassment since I bought my first commercial property in Ely. It's illegal, it's against the law, and you'll soon find out more, but I got a letter about my property at 2143 Altman. I made an appointment with the city attorney. I showed up, he wasn't there. He thought he canceled it, he didn't, I wouldn't have shown up. Continuous harassment. In the past 4 years, I've met with the past fire chief, past building official, past city attorney. Nothing that I'm doing on a commercial property is illegal. The tires are there because I'm building a retaining wall. The wrecked cars, not all cars are wrecked. This wreck is one of my ex-employees, and he's going to come back and pick it up. The other one that's there is missing parts. I need to pull the engine on it. Scrap metal. I accumulate my scrap metal because the city of Ely wants to charge me for every refrigerator. If I take it to Las Vegas, I own 80 doors in town, okay? If I take it to Las Vegas, I get 30 bucks a pop. Why should I pay the city to dispose of something when I can take it and get money for it? I make enough trips that I can get reimbursed. So I'm staging the material there, okay, until I transport it to Las Vegas and sell it. It's been 4 years. It's continuous harassment. don't understand why you keep telling me I'm breaking the law when I'm not. You have towing company, you have welding shops, they have cars missing pieces. We have the same zoning. What am I doing illegal? Quit telling me I'm doing something illegal and let's work together to clean it. I've tried to clean that property up before. I was denied allowing them to take any cars that I don't have titles to the dump. Okay, so I'm stuck with them. Last year I was allowed by Jennifer Lee to dispose of 2 that were missing a lot of parts, and I took them to the junk and got rid of them. I had a toad over there, okay? But don't tell me that I'm doing something illegal, okay? You write me this letter, and yet you have a councilman that has a yard that looks like this. Your ordinance is based on residential. It has nothing to do with my commercial property. Harassment, harassment, harassment. I'm waiting to meet with my attorney next week. I'll be going to the EEOC and filing a federal complaint, and I'll be sending copying the governor on that. It has to stop. Last year, the city of Ely illegally posted notices on my apartment because of a water bill that was 30 days later, whatever it was. That's against the law. You cannot be doing that. You want to put a lien on my property? Go for it. But quit harassing me. And it's been continuous since I bought my first commercial property. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to raise hell. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kristen. Any other public comment?
Hi, we're back for the record. I'm just here to give a little bit of preamble for an agenda item that will be on the next agenda. The Nevada Main Street Association opened up a grant program in the 11th hour before the end of the fiscal year for murals and monuments. And the White Pine Main Street Association, who is part of that Nevada Main Street, was awarded $30,000 to increase our mural inventory in the downtown. And I know we've got to go through the process of the City Council approving that, but I just wanted to state with the short timeline of the mural, you may start to see walls being prepared and things like that. And I didn't want it to seem like a surprise to the City Council that we were moving forward with anything without your knowledge or your approval. We have met with the Ely Renaissance Society, and Virginia has given her blessing on the 3 murals that we applied for, which is a Wildlife on Success Summit scene, and that'll be at 2517 Altman Street. That's Dr. Arnoldson's buildings. It's right there at the curb of Midtown. There are 2 white cinder block buildings. There's going to be a mural on the side of 1676 Altman, which is Desert Rose Crafts, and that's going to be in honor of the 1919 military convoy that came across the Lincoln Highway. And then the 3rd mural is going to be on 648 Altman Street, which is a Touch of Class salon, kind of adjacent to the Economy Drug parking lot. And that's going to be an Ely Shoshone Powwow Fandango mural. And so there'll be more sketches that'll be coming in for the actual agenda item. But again, I just wanted to kind of come in prior to that, just to let you know what Main Street Association has been working on. And if you see any prep to those buildings, that's what's happening. So appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Horvath. Any other public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I want to agree with Mr. Tristan there. This community has a problem with ethnic minorities. You've been coming after me for years, but I want to look at what you've done and what you're doing with some of these citations. You're targeting people, and that's wrong. Mr. Mayor, I came up here to talk to the building inspector in regards to an item at 692 Parker. I got rid of the vehicle, belonged to a cancer neighbor of mine. The building is not charred. Some of the roof is, and that'll be changed out, and I told the building inspector when I do the roof. The wood on the side that isn't sided is weathered, and I'm going to paint that. But I told him, you come down, you disagree with me, I'll do what you tell me, but make sure he brings the tape recorder. The other one I got is as I go around town, here's a house on Avenue G. Now that's charred. Not fenced off, mine is. You've got to attract a nuisance there. Stop the selective enforcement. The other notice I got was on my commercial property, 710 Avenue G, regarding the building being charred. No, the black fiberboard, and there are 4 pieces that are damaged. That'll come off and I can get a contractor. Over a year ago, I talked to White Plain Construction. Just recently, I talked to JCR. All those guys are busy. Prior to that, I had talked to other roofing companies. I got a bid from CTR on another property, $22,800. Same job from a company that I waited for a couple months, Broken Arrow, $14,900. $8,000 difference. I'm willing to do the work, but I'm not going to get gouged by anybody. Nobody. The vehicles I have on that property is commercial. Here we have a councilman, Mr. Flangus, parked car, no licensing, no fencing. A little farther down, he's encroaching on the sidewalk, put in a tree, retaining wall, the city sidewalk can't do that. Here's the backside, he's got older buildings, not fenced off, attractive nuisance, and yet you're worried about old George. Here's a home on Campton Street, no fencing. I tried to take care of that back in 2006. Mr. Allworth gave me a song and dance that belonged to somebody out at the prison. And here, there's no fencing. It's an attractive nuisance. There may have been some fire in there, but you're coming after me. On Avenue C, everything you've written me up, here it is. No fencing, no nothing. Here's another one, a boat next to a park, broken windows. I've reported that for years. No remedy, no fencing. On the other side, Avenue C, here's a warehouse. Tin is coming off.
Thank you, George.
You need to stop selectively enforcing the law, Mr. Mayor, and I've got others. You've got to extend that period so we can talk about this.
Thank you, George.
And I want you off my back.
Any other public comment? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to item 3, mayor discussion for possible action, approval of agenda, including removal of agenda items. If there are no changes to the agenda, will you make a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Motion by Councilwoman Beecher, second by Councilman Carson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved. We'll move on to item 4, City Department reports. Fire Chief, I don't believe he's here tonight. Police Chief.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilman. Just thought I'd give you a little update as far as the vandalism that occurred at the park. We have identified the individuals that were responsible. They are juveniles, so we are working with juvenile probation and the district attorney's office to get our reports have already been submitted, so they'll be issuing the juveniles and parents summonses to appear in court. So that's moving forward, and hopefully we'll come to some type of restitution for the city. So, any questions?
I do have a question about the ATV pamphlets that we had made. Has your department found those helpful, or they being used?
I know the deputies hand them out quite frequently. We're trying to work with people because we still deal with the issues. It's mostly the underage operators, so we're really trying to educate and do the best we can there, but it's kind of a losing battle for us right now.
And would you mind elaborating a little bit on the conversation you and I had about some possible changes to the county's park code and what we might be doing about that to abate some of the vandalism going on right there?
Sure. Mayor and I met yesterday. As you know, we had a county commission meeting yesterday also. And they have some of the same concerns and dealing with some of the same issues that the city parks are with the vandalism and the garbage and graffitis and issues like that. So we're going to work with the district attorney's office and ask the mayor if we pursue down this avenue that the city would follow suit so that we're consistent countywide. One of the things we're going to explore is possibly a curfew on our parks, looking at a time frame when the parks can be occupied, and then if somebody needs to occupy the park after the curfew or the closure of the park, they can apply for a special use permit. So we're not restricting the parks in any way. We're just trying to make sure that they're closed at a certain time and that the vandalism and issues that we've been dealing with also looking at cameras. As you all know, that's the future, is everything's recorded, and that's how we rely upon video footage a lot to help us solve issues that occur. Lighting, of course, we're looking at the lighting issues in all the parks and addressing those and seeing if the county, maybe the city has funding to put more lighting in our parks to deter some of the stuff that's going on. So we're trying to find some solutions, looking for the public's input on these to make sure that, you know, we're working together, not against each other.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Municipal Court Judge, you have his report there.
Judge Foster is on.
Yes, Judge Coster.
Hello, Mayor. I have submitted the standard copy of the state report for the month, or for last month, and can take any questions if you have them. I have nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you, Judge Coster. City Attorney.
So just briefly for my report, I was asked to look into and report on the ambulance service franchise ordinance that we have. And just so the council is aware, under our ambulance service franchise ordinance, any ambulance service within the city of Ely must have two things: a state permit and a franchise agreement with the city of Ely to operate those services within the city of Ely. If an entity wants to be considered for a franchise agreement with the city of Ely, they must provide us with an application, set out in the ordinance are all the things that the application must include. Once the application is submitted with the city clerk places notices similar to that of a public hearing, and then we have a hearing on whether that franchise agreement should be issued. If that franchise agreement is issued, it's an exclusive franchise agreement for 5 years. But that's the process. If anyone wants to provide services outside of our city ambulance services, if someone wants to do that, is the process that they must follow in order to be considered to provide services within our city boundaries.
And that is inclusive of any ambulance service that originates within the city, even if it's a transport coming from the hospital to the airport. Is that correct?
Correct. There are exceptions as far as transports coming from the outside in. Those would not fall under it, but as far as anything initiated within the city, and the ambulance service is defined very broadly, and so any medical transport or pre-hospital care or anything originating within the city needs to be in compliance with this ordinance.
Okay. Any questions for the attorney?
Does the city fire department currently have a franchise?
Correct, and so what it allows for is the city of Ely Fire Department has what we would call a franchise now, but we're allowed to issue another franchise if we so choose, if we would like to, if we feel we need that help. But if we do feel that the city of Ely is providing everything that we need, we don't need to approve that application.
Okay, City Clerk.
I just wanted to update the council as far as some workshops that I've been attending. Attended the CDBG application workshop yesterday. Also attended the American Rescue Plan workshop with Councilman Allworth and Councilman Spear. And then a follow-up, not much new, that was in that follow-up. Also been spending a lot of time providing information to our co-pact attorneys for litigation on the Ely disposal case and also on the Bobby Van case. That was about 2 days. And then also on this opioid litigation, needed a lot of information. Cody Coombs contacted us yesterday, and he said in a few weeks that the Green Up grant is going to reopen, so that's exciting. We'll get applied for that. And then I wanted to bring the council up to date on the armory. Mike and I had some training last Friday from the NVIS engineer, and it really is a neat system. As part of their fee, we have 2 months included of remote lookup, and you can look at every part of the armory system, the armory heating system, and for 2 months we can control it remotely. Then we have to walk over there and walk in the furnace room to do it at the laptop. But he said that he feels that right now it's set optimally, that and air conditioning bills are going to be between 200 and 300 during the summer each month, and that an optimal bill between the heating oil and the electricity during the winter is going to be about $2,000 a month. So, and our monthly lease is $3,200. Bear in mind, we can reapproach the state and ask them to re-look at the lease if our, if the council chooses to do the utility costs. And I would welcome any of you to come and look at it with me if you'd like to, and look at how the settings work. And so it's very nice.
Do those settings need to be changed from season to season, or is it a setting you put in and it accounts for all that?
Yeah, it accounts for all that. Yeah, the air conditioning set, the heating set, everything's set. But
Okay. Any questions for the clerk? Okay. City treasurer. Any questions for the treasurer? City public works supervisor. Getting ready for Memorial Day. Okay. Any questions for public works?
No, but I drove by there today and it looks wonderful, so good job, guys.
City water operator, you have that report, city engineer.
We've been dealing with, we had our typical Monday morning quarter meeting again, and so we've got that stuff compiled based on what we talked about this last Monday, and it looked like the start of a firestorm, emails back and forth when I sent that out this afternoon. So, but it was all, I think it's all good news. So hopefully we'll be here to do whatever we can to support the next phases, the steps that come based on that. We got out this week our vulnerability assessment out. Now that was we got a final draft out, so that's a good thing. We wanted it out. Allman project is basically, as far as the city improvements are concerned, we're really winding down all our main stuff. It's basically taken care of, and so now we'll be just doing this. I think there's a couple odd ends, little services that need to be connected up, and then we're just pretty much winding down. Other than we probably will be dealing with a little bit as they still complete their storm drain down centrally as they cross through our utilities or whatever. But for the most part, all that stuff is new and hopefully will be on the way. And just want to be a part of that as it goes through. Murray Street project is ongoing. Some of the things that was asked last time is the due date for that Murray project was May 14th, which was last Friday. There is some days that they definitely have the right to claim coming in, or different things that are run into. So, as far as I'm concerned, they're not quite over time frame yet, with those days. What they have got left, they've got approximately about 300 feet of sewer left to go in, and one manhole to go with that. One of the things, as we're working up that road, they're actually replacing everything as they go up that road. So they don't have to come back and now add in all the services that they put both sides of the road into every service in as they go up. And so the last 300 feet, then they are done with everything, and the system will be up and functioning. And then the only thing left after the main line is in is, I think, the abandonment of the old sewer manholes associated with it. So project's getting close. Hopefully in the next week or two we'll be able to wrap that thing up. So, any more questions?
So you're projected in 2 more weeks?
Yeah, I'm hoping in 2 more weeks, yes.
Any other questions for BJ?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. City building official?
Nothing to report.
Any questions for building official Walker? Okay. With that, we'll move on to item 5, reports. We'll start with City Council. We'll start with Councilman Flangus.
I really have nothing to report other than the planning commission is working very diligently on some of the future plans for our community and for White County, and they're really working on some good ideas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Carson?
No report.
Councilman Spear? No. Councilman Hall?
No, just the city clerk covered the housing report that we set through that American Rescue Plan training or seminar. It was very ready right
Weather.
Councilman Beecher.
Nothing to report here.
Okay. For my report, you have a road closure there. I also wanted to report on a few things, starting with the fire EMS agreement and what went down in the county meeting yesterday. As you are aware, the County Commission had their meeting yesterday to consider the proposal that was previously approved by the Ely City Council. By way of information for the council, I'd like to report that the discussion for this one agenda item went on for over an hour. I was very disappointed by the mischaracterization and false statements made by some county staff as well as some county officials. There was a lot of talk initially about loyalty during this item, and I sincerely hope those that were involved in that discussion consider that the loyalty demanded by the residents of this county is loyalty to their job, their duty, and the volunteers and the facts, and not loyalty to any elected officials. City Fire Chief Stork was also able to offer comments during this agenda item and was able, and I'm very pleased to say, he responded succinctly and professionally to all of the unverified issues that were given with reference to the logistical operation of the fire department. He did a very good job. Comments made that the City of Ely wasn't able to provide figures and operating costs for our department are untrue. The City Negotiating Committee did state repeatedly that we had little faith in the historical figures of the department from fiscal year 19 and earlier, as accounting for the city at that time had issues as shown in the audits, but that we were very confident of the figures we provided for the department's realized costs and billings from 2019 forward. Among other statements, the city was accused of offering a bait and switch on their proposal. The county kept referencing that the initial proposal they got was a dollar-for-dollar refund on any revenue over $450,000 that our billing brought in, but the only proposal I ever saw was the percentage rebate as was proposed by the council. The only difference being that the rebate would be determined in the fourth quarter instead of for each quarter for logistical reasons. Notwithstanding those comments from some, it appears that a majority of the commission was in favor of the city's proposal, although one commissioner had some additional questions. Even after more than an hour of debate, I'm still not exactly sure what the county's next move is, but currently they have not approved the proposed terms of the agreement, and that's kind of where that is at the moment. We're just kind of waiting to hear from them.
They're having a special meeting next on the court, fire district and county commission to readdress that. So
I guess that's what they're doing. The other item I'd like to report on is the fire EMS agreement with the tribe that the council asked that I address. I met with the tribal chairwoman and members of their council regarding the fire EMS protection for the Shoshone Reservation. We had a very productive conversation in discussing the matter with their council as a whole, and then we'll come up with a suggestion on how to proceed to bring that back to the city council for discussion. For the record on the landfill issues, after speaking with the staff and doing some research regarding the landfill billing, I'd just like to report the following for the record. Our attorney has done some research on the city and county code as they pertain to the billing for the regional landfill run by the city. There are issues with the code itself that leave some gaps between what our current billing policies are, the resolutions that were passed previously by previous councils, and the code itself. That, combined with the fact that a comprehensive audit of landfill billing of both county and city properties has not been undertaken for some years, as near as I can tell, if ever. And this is simply due to the fact that such an audit would require more time and manpower than the city offices, or pretty much any office in the county has. This is a very similar situation with the current business license system. My suggestion to the council on this matter would be to look at and revise the code to, at the very least, address the deficiencies and bring the code in line with what our current billing practices are. Ideally, though, after speaking with staff, I think some heavy revision of the code to make a system that is easier and less time-consuming to implement and verify would be the way to go. Having a system that could be verified by information already being collected and updated by the assessor's office would be most efficient, as sending staff out to verify properties in Baker, Cherry Creek, or even McGill is certainly a time suck that I don't know that we can afford at the moment. I believe every property with any kind of structure on it should be getting some kind of landfill bill. The code should spell out that the landfill fee each property owner pays is for the operation and maintenance of the landfill, as having a landfill affects everybody's property values. I think it's a benefit to anybody who has property within the county. The fee they pay, the code should also kind of delineate that
fee they pay entitles them to dispose of typical trash generated in the operation of a business or the maintenance